All right, guys, this is going to be the recap of the Saturday's loss to the Bison at home, as well as looking back upon the season briefly, just because at 6-5 with the FCS playoff bracket revealed earlier this morning, UNI's season ends predictably, having not gotten to 7 wins. I know they did get 6 wins, I believe, 2 years ago when they played Eastern Washington. But as you guys remember, if anyone recalls, that was even met with some skepticism, I think, nationally, that UNI got in with the record that they did. So, focusing on this season, we're just going to review this past game. So again, this is a lot of writing. We don't have to read all this. I'm just going to summarize this briefly. Basically, and I'm just trying to see if I can divide any of this or if I should just move on. What ended up happening is, and we can go into the drives, but UNI just wasn't able to match offensively what North Dakota State was putting out there. What we had was a start to the game where you had North Dakota State score on a fourth down, which was just debilitating. And I know they threw a flag, but they ended up picking it up. So for a second, you're like, oh, maybe the go-ahead fourth down is no good by Eli Green, but it ends up going. So it's a 36-yard pass, it says, from Cam Miller. We storm down the field, get a field goal by Matthew Cook, but then they respond with a touchdown of their own. So at that point, it's 14-3. What ends up happening is you just have no response to their offense, or an inadequate response, because if they're putting up touchdowns, which they do afterwards, Rajah Nelson, we have a 15-yard pass to the second quarter. We're down 21-3. Even though Ty Edwards would then respond with a touchdown, a big 40-yard bomb. Man, was I excited when that happened. It's still 21-10. It feels emotionally like it's closer, but we're still very far apart, and that's because we couldn't score on our initial, or we couldn't put a touchdown together on our initial offensive drive. So that was all that she wrote. I apologize for yawning here, but by the time the half ends, it's 27-10, and it just seems very lifeless, very unlikely that we're going to end up getting back into the game. So by the time the third quarter rolls around, I mean, we have Sam Schnee catching a touchdown pass to make it 34-20, but it just seemed like at some point it was getting out of hand, just because we knew with Theo's interceptions, with our inability to move the ball, with our inability to stop them from scoring, it just seemed like the game was over pretty early. I do like how Amari Pesek-Hickson got a 15-yard pass from Theo at the end in the fourth quarter to put it 48-27. So that was a nice cherry on top, to which was a nice end of the season for Pesek-Hickson, going from only having one special teams tackle to now having a receiving touchdown to add to his rushing ones. So I did already kind of touch on these drives, but I'll just run through real quick. We have, let's see here, and I'll pull it up. Yeah, first drive for the Bison, 7 plays, 68 yards. So that's I'm trying to see if there's anything kind of big here. Let's see. I have a 14-yard pass from Cam Miller to Cole Payton to put them at R41. Other than that, we've got a couple of short runs. It was really 3rd and 4. We thought we had them where we wanted them at the 35, but then they go for it on 4th and 5. Ballsy move, pays off. They get that 36-yard pass, breakaway into the end zone. Then we have a 12-play, UNI has a 12-play, 62-yard drive. Now, this is just debilitating. I mean, we've got, let's see, 1st and 10 from the NDSU 12. 1st and 10 from the NDSU 12. And we get a field goal. 3-yard run from Pesek-Hickson. Incomplete pass to Sergio. Another incomplete pass to Sergio. Have to get for a field goal. I mean, you just can't win that way. When the team that you're playing on the very next possession for them, 10 plays, 75 yards, 75 yards, yeah. What happened here? We've got an 18-yard pass for Raja Nelson. We've got a, I mean, really, it's nothing crazy. Maybe another 18-yard pass to Raja Nelson. It looks like he had 2 of those on that drive. They're just moving the chains. Another 20-yard pass to him, so obviously we couldn't get him down, and then he runs it in. Cam Miller, the quarterback, runs in for 1 yard from first and goal. So we're down 14-3. We punted on what was nothing. I mean, I have nothing there. It looks like Day is sacked. Oh, this is the one where he fumbled and recovered his fumble. So we end up punting, and what do? They score. Now, we met their touchdown with the touchdown of our own. That was kind of nice. Cam Miller passes to Raja. Oh, familiar name, 15 yards. And then we get that nice 40-yard run by Ty, which was dope. On that same drive, Sergio had that, a 22-yard pass where he caught the ball on the sideline. That was nice. He caught the ball, broke away from his defender, and then kept running. So at that point, it is 21-10. They punted, which is kind of nice. But then Theo's intercepted. They get a field goal out of it, which shows that we can make a stop. So 39, we were able to. The defense was able to stop them. But then what happens? Theo throws another pass. So Wu had a nice 26-yard return before the interception. But at that point, they get a field goal out of it. So this is something to note. I touched on it briefly if you read that summary. The fact that Theo threw 2 picks and that we, as a defensive unit, were able to limit them to 2 field goals was encouraging. The problem, though, is that the score is 27-10 because we can't move the ball offensively. So even though we're making these nice stops, what is that if we already gave up so many points? And the half ends, it's 27-10. It already feels like the game is over. Now, we started the second half. Let me move forward. We start the second half with a field goal. That's 10 plays, 61 yards. I'm trying to see anything that was really big on that drive. 20-yard pass to Sam. He also had a 33-yard pass completion. So there's a lot going on there. But that's the thing. We get to the frickin' 2-yard line. We get the ball to the 2-yard line, and we end up kicking a 30-yard field goal because we get a sack because we can't do anything. The offense was getting so stagnant, and it's frustrating because Theo is a talented quarterback. It's just a combination of protection issues, a combination of not being able to effectively run, relying on these burst plays from the wide receivers where they're catching, these like 30-yard passes, not being able to consistently make these 8-yard runs. I'm seeing a 6-yard loss by Ty just looking at it. It sucks. Now we got 2 punts and then a spree of touchdowns. So I have 1 play, 65 yards for a touchdown. This is the run by Cole Payton. Then I have a 10-play, 75-yard drive where who scores here? We have Theo finding Sam, so that was nice. They gave us a little energy. 34-20 looks like at that point. North Dakota State has a 40-yard bomb to Raja Nelson. That's 41-20. And then I guess back-to-back touchdowns for us. So that's kind of cool. So this is, you know what? No. Never mind. This is the, it looks like ESPN Stats did this wrong. This is the 75-yard interception return by Cole Wisniewski, and then we score. So, it says 3 touchdown for UNI and 2 for, this is incorrect. It's actually a touchdown for North Dakota State, touchdown for us, touchdown for North Dakota State, another touchdown for North Dakota State, and then touchdown. So I'm going to flip it. It's actually 3 touchdowns for the Bison and 2 for us. So I apologize. And And then the game ends with a punt. Theo is picked off. They punt. We turn over on downs. The game is over. So, quick season awards. I'm going to give the main one to Amari. I think he saved our season. We were down bad in Brookings. We were using every running back we could. The fact that we shut out a now playoff-bound North Dakota Fighting Hawks team, thanks in super large part to Pesek Hickson and how I imagine he's just stunned North Dakota because they're like, who is this dude? We probably didn't prep for him. And if we did, definitely didn't expect him to run for 180 yards. I mean, the next week he also has a 2-touchdown game against Illinois State. We end up winning by just a field goal, but we had a huge lead that we just couldn't build on. Not a huge lead. We had a lead for majority of the game, couldn't build on it. His 2 touchdowns were instrumental. It also allowed Ty Edwards to get better, and we saw, yesterday he's still able to rush for those big plays. So Amari was definitely the MVP. Defensive MVPs are Galvin, Dearman, and Staley. I don't have their stats, but I know in Wu, I'll give Wu an honorable mention. I just know that the 3 of those guys were always making the second tackles. The guys that were always coming in, saving broken plays, broken tackles. Just the workmen. I want them to get their respect. Theo and Matthew Cook, I think it's just an obvious Matthew because he broke David Johnson's all-time record. Theo because he's Theo. He's going to get NFL looks. He reminds me of Gardner Minshew. He reminds me of Drew Plitt, who played at Ball State and got an NFL gig with the Bengals and then played in the XFL. I mean, Theo's going to get his opportunities. I have nothing but positive things to say at the end of it. Thank you for an entertaining season. For anyone who checked out any of these videos, I appreciate it. Hopefully I helped you, and you helped me just seeing that people were viewing these videos. So until next year, guys.